Good evening, everyone. This is Tim from Lila Media, or Coming Soon Homes. I actually wanted to shoot a quick video for you guys to kind of walk you through a microsite and what a microsite does. I'm going to be using an example here from our friends at Buddy Blake at Remax Essential in Wilmington, North Carolina. As you'll see up here, that we're going to start with their microsite, which is wilmington.comingsoonhomes.com. They're using the Metro 2 template, I believe. Here, and as you can see through, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the home page of the site because a lot of it is self-explanatory. As far as going in is how your coming soon homes, are listed up. Homes that are now available. Basically, they pass the coming soon, market. And of course, you have all your properties and map searches. So I'm going to quickly go through all of these fields, and then we're going to spend some time on the microsite. So on what every microsite does, you can choose from various templates, which we're going to see in a second. And he has chosen his Metro 2, as we talked about before. You're going to see there's something unique to what he's done. He has actually installed a ReadyChat widget on it, which I'm going to show you how you can add that to yours. As you can see here on this particular template, he has his properties which are available on the home page. There you go. I'm getting emails coming in late at night. There you go. You can see the properties here. Now, so you also see that, in some of these properties they have the price shown. In some of these properties they have the price hidden. That is their choice. That is a part of the admin function, which I'll show you briefly. Here you'll also see the flags of their properties on this template. It's an option in which by default coming soon is available and also is for sale. How this is actually determined is any property by default will actually have coming soon listed as the flag unless you override it. After it passes the listing date, it'll automatically go to the for sale option, unless you override it. And we're going to talk about that briefly here. And you'll go down here and you'll see here about us, your contact, and this is all part of this template. So if you're not using this exact version, yours will vary slightly, on it. And of course, coming soon is all properties that basically haven't reached their listing date now available, or all properties that have. All properties mapped together. Map search is just of that. It's basically an integrated map feature. Yes, I know in this template we kind of do that on the home page, but we also provide a more in-depth version here as well. And of course, if you have any open houses listed, they would be here. I don't believe they do. Yeah, they don't do it this time. And of course, you have your call-outs, which are basically sell your home, about us, and contact, which are down here. Pretty self-explanatory as far as that goes. So let me actually go ahead and sign in. I'm actually going to sign in with my account with Buddy. Click here and submit. You can notice with the sign in, I'm going to have a little button that's going to appear here in just a split second, and it's going to say admin, which is pretty cool. So I click here and I click admin. It's going to flip me over back onto the back side of his microsite. From here I'm going to have several options, and this is kind of where I wanted to spend some time. First, let's talk about the dashboard here. You can actually see his total leads, total properties, total users that are in his system. We've actually set Buddy's up on a company level in which he has all of his agents that have started using this system themselves. As far as how they have it broken down, contact me individually, and I'll explain that in depth. As far as how to do that, site support, where you can basically submit a request directly to the dev department. So it doesn't necessarily go to Renee, it goes directly to the dev, which is my team, that handles it. In fact, I personally see these requests when they come in themselves. From here, you'll see things like your leads, lead activities, showing reports, contact request reports, so forth and so on. It's just basically your general information on your dashboard. We're constantly working on redeveloping this. In fact, one of our features we have coming out is going to redesign this a little bit as far as when the updates goes. Everybody's admin dashboards look the same, so regardless of your micro, everybody will have the same dashboard here. Some of the features may not necessarily apply to you if you have a certain template, but for the most part they do. Pages basically allows you to come in and modify pages. We do actually give you the ability to put in sliders, in callouts, text content, if you want to use these. We don't see a ton of people using these yet, but you can. But for example, Buddy has a slider in here of a barge, and you'll notice on his homepage he didn't have that. Well, that's because Buddy initially had a template that had a slider header. He has switched to a template that no longer does that, and it just has the map. So this is no longer valid. I mean, unless he switched back to the template because it's not used. And as I said, some templates will be slightly different than the others. And of course, you can go through some of these other pages. Like if you want to adjust your About Us, you can do so. You'll notice that this is straight HTML. In here, if you actually want to put that text in there. For the most part, a lot of people don't touch this, but you can if you'd like to. Properties. This is kind of the bread and butter as far as how properties work. Now I have a test property here for Buddy, so I'm not actually messing with any of his live data. And I can go ahead and click add. Well, I'm going to show you, here's how you add a property. You click add a property and you fill out all this information. For just time savings, I'm not going to go through and show everyone. I'm just going to edit an existing property to make it a little bit easier on everybody here. So I'm going to edit this one. As you can see, by default, this box is going to say enabled by default, but if you're finding your properties not showing up, which I had a bug that came in today, so it said that properties weren't showing up, that's because they had them disabled. You'd actually want to turn that on. Now, since this is a test property, obviously I want to leave it off. The rest of this information, everything you have in here is pretty much optional. So if you don't have an MLS number, you don't have to put one. Some people put coming soon in, some people put NA, some people just leave it blank. It's completely up to you. Neighborhood, again, information you can put in, so forth, so on. Let's come all the way down to listing price. Here, as you can notice, we put in text. You simply put in the actual value. So in this case, it's 150,000. No commas, no additional punctuation, just 150,000. Listing date, you want to actually go ahead and put your listing date in. This listing date is actually going to happen in 2 days at 8 a.m. So I'll pop that in there. If you want to change it, you can click here and actually change your listing date. Listing type, transaction, as far as. Now this is actually where that for sale and coming soon comes in. So here's your banner text. If I was to type this field in and I was to put, let's go back up here and say this is going to be in crosswinds. I could put in crosswinds here, and when I save, that banner text in the middle that said for coming soon or for sale would basically change to say crosswinds. So some people are putting in community names, some people are putting basically reduced, anything you want. So again, if I wanted to put reduced or price reduced or something like that, I can. I have up to 15 characters that I can put in here, and it will basically override. And anything in this banner text field will overwrite what you're seeing on the home page. So if you were paying attention to the Facebook group when I posted that a few days ago, you will actually notice this is what I was talking about. If this is not filled out, what will happen is after it goes from coming soon, it will go for sale or for rent, depending what you have on there. We don't have a lot of people doing for rent because that's kind of a niche market, but it is an option we have in the system. Okay, moving on. Year built, square footage, lot size, pretty self-explanatory stuff. Features, high school, salary marks, latitude and longitude. Now, if you don't know the latitude and longitude when you put in the property, that's fine. As long as you put in the address here, and when you hit save, if you come back into the property, you're going to notice that the latitude and longitude appear. We automatically go to and do the calculation for you and try our best estimation as far as where it's at. You can actually go to Google Maps, right click on an area on the map, and it'll actually give you the latitude, longitude, but you don't have to go that far if you don't want to do so. You can actually choose which agent this is associated to. This is all. Now I'm obviously logged in with a company owner account, so I can see all the agents in the company. If I was logged in with my user account, say my agent account, I could only choose myself from this drop down. So it allows you to have agents within your company or within your team or within your just if it's just two of you. And actually assign them to them individually. Why that's important is because that will actually, the lead will always go to the listing agent in 99% of the cases. So if it's from the national site, it'll go to the listing agent. If it's on the microsite, it'll go to the listing agent. The only time it won't go to the listing agent is if for example, if I come into the site one time and say I am a lead and I get associated to Alicia Murray. When I come back to the site, if I click on a different property, I will still come back to Alicia Murray. That's how the lead's designed. So once we establish a relationship, we don't break it. Of course, a company owner at any point in time can reassociate that lead with anyone they want. So it'll go that way as well. So if I'm already associated with an agent, I'll stay with that one. So if you did have a company owner that say wanted to assign me to Amy, the next time I come in, I will go with Amy. So that is a possibility, but that's only at the company owner level. All right, back to the property here. Mentioned earlier, we showed in the micro where we had some showed price, some didn't. And this is where you can actually choose on the per micro level what you show without a login. So if you want to show price without a login, you can do so. If you want to show square footage, you can. If you want to show address, you can or cannot. It's your choice. If I want to add properties, I simply click here, browse for images. It'll bring up a little box and I can drop images into the box. Floor plans, documents, these are all options you have if you choose. And once you hit save, I'm going to go and cancel for resistive purposes. It will actually appear here. And as you can see here, they've got quite a few properties in their inventory management. So in a quick nutshell and a quick rundown, that's how you add properties to the system. From there, let's take a look at open houses. Open houses are pretty self-explanatory. Let's take a look at our test property here again. And I'm going to click add. At this point in time, I can choose a date, I can choose a start and end time, and I can actually put in a note. Once I do this, it'll actually show up in the system and have a little red text, a little red banner, and it'll say open house and it's flagged as such. Also, as you noticed on the microsite where one of the options was, coming soon, now available, and then at the very bottom there was an option to see all the open houses. That is where you would see open houses. Okay. Users are going to look different depending on who you're logged in as. If you're logged in as just an agent account, you're really just going to see your account. You won't see any of the rest of this. Now, I want to kind of explain how this works at the company owner level because I know a lot of you are company owners. So this actually works in reverse list from what you're seeing here. The first thing you do is you establish a company. In this case, it's actually established as the company owner is Buddy Blake. Then you'll establish an office. Now, some people only have one office, and that's completely understanding. But we have some areas, and like Buddy actually has 4 offices. We haven't put the rest of them in there. So let's go ahead and add another office in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add another office and say, I know he has an office at Carolina Beach. And his office manager is, well, I was going to say it's Buddy Blake for now. And I can put the email in there, it's buddy@buddyblake.com. Okay, this is more of my information here. Click save, and now it's got Carolina Beach. It's going to have 2 offices in there, and choose from there. And of course, this information is for our information purposes and organization, as you're going to see here next. The next one we're going to come to is we're going to basically look at our teams. Now these are actually real teams, so I want to make sure not to mess with them too much. Here, if I want to add a team, I simply click add team. It's going to ask me for the team name, the team leader, and then it's going to ask me for what company associated with. Now he's only got one company because that's how this is set up, but you're going to see he's going to have the ability to choose an office, multiple offices there, and I can enter the team information. Once I do, I'm going to see a team that looks like this. Let's click on Buddies here. See Buddy Blake team, Buddy Blake, buddy@buddyblake.com, and so forth. And then after that, I'm going to see the different roles. I'm going to see team leaders, and then I'm going to see agents, and so forth and so on. Now let me explain how these works. It's fairly simple. The company owner can see everything that I'm showing you today. They can basically control all of the accounts. If you had something that was an admin is more of like your staff admin that enters properties at the global level, like at the very top level. And then you're going to have something, it's going to be called the team leader. Now the team leader is just like an agent, except a team leader can modify any listings and any accounts for any of the agents under them. So let's use an example for Buddy here. Brittany and CB are both on Buddy Blake's team, and they're under Buddy. Buddy could edit their logins, he could change their listings, he could modify things for them. He also can choose which lenders they can use under the lender module, which we'll look at here in just a second. For it. Very simple, that's about it. And when you come down to an agent level can just take care of themselves. They can know listings, they can do their own data, but they can't do anything else. So again, company owner level or admin level is basically the same. They can add listings for everyone, they can change pretty much anything in the system, logins, passwords, and such. And then it kind of breaks down to the team leader level, and then it breaks down to the agent level. So I'm hoping that helps set people out a little bit. Alright, so let's